Hotline Miami was a game that I wasn't expecting much of. Now that's not to say that I thought it was going to be poorly made or lacking in substance or anything like that. I just played it on a whim after hearing that it was good. What I found was a short but ultimately pleasant ride, or in the case of this game, a homicidal acid trip. Here's a brief look at Hotline Miami. Hotline Miami is a game developed by Denton Games, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a part of the growing playlist of games that I've played that are I don't exactly know what to call the genre for these games. Essentially, it's where your character is in a confined area. You die in one hit, and you have to fight through obstacles or enemies skillfully. The game is designed so that you don't make it through the area your first time, unless you have obtained the gamer power that allows you to play Dark Souls with Donkey Kongas. Now for the rest of us mortals, these kinds of difficulties would be incredibly frustrating if it weren't for the fact these games have no lives and you respawn almost instantly. It's game design where you charge at a brick wall head on until the wall breaks instead of your skull. It is designed so that, in the end, you're so familiar with the area that you can develop your routes and strategies to get through levels and feel awesome while you do it. The game is a neo-noir aesthetic design, getting to the visual design of Hotline Miami specifically. It's set in the late 80s, but that doesn't matter all that much outside of explanations for why there are things like VHS shops still around. The story of the game is, it's weird. It's supposed to be eerie and unsettling at many points, and even though it's pixel art, it gets very graphic and violent. And the pixel aesthetic gets across the gruesome nature of the game quite clearly. There's a large mystery at play as to why your character is answering a phone that sends you to missions where you kill countless people, and why the character wears rubber animal masks and is seemingly haunted by them. I won't explain any more of the story because I think a new player should go in relatively unknowledgeable and myself not fully grasping all of the mystery of the game for me to pretend I know all of what I'm talking about. Personally, the story isn't the biggest draw of the game for me, but that is no insult to the story. That's just a compliment to basically everything else in the game. Now, the game recommends that you play with headphones on, which I fully agree with. The game in general is quite crunchy and in a very satisfying way, from an audio standpoint, of course. When you slash a knife through an enemy or pop off someone's head with a shotgun blast, you can feel the impact and the gruesomeness to it all through the audio design. The music has a synthwave kind of thing going for it, and while that isn't my personal style of preference, I think it works incredibly well as the background noise for you committing mass murder in this setting. Again, I probably won't be listening to this soundtrack outside of the game, but I don't think this game would work nearly as well as it does without the sound design and music being as fitting as they are. Now, the game is a top-down twin-stick ordeal, meaning you walk around with the left analog stick, aim with the right stick, while looking at your character from a bird's eye view. When you start, you only have your fists to work with. They can knock down enemies and disarm them, but they don't kill them. While the enemy is knocked down, you can finish the job by going over their bodies and initiating a melee finisher. Slamming doors into enemies and throwing dull objects will also stun and knock down your enemies. You can pick up any weapon an enemy drops, which is how you can instantly kill someone. This can be achieved by melee weapons and guns. You have to get nice and close to the enemies for melee weapons, which instantly puts you at risk for the enemy spotting you and attacking you before you can kill them. Guns allow you to fire at a distance and will enable you to kill your victims much more quickly, usually. However, gunshots are naturally loud, which means you're bound to draw more enemies to your location. The whole game is about assessing the situation, working with what you have available to you, and killing every person on screen without them returning the favor. The game progressively gets harder by adding new obstacles like these big guys that can take a lot of damage, dogs that are tremendously fast at ripping your throat out, and eventually even some boss encounters. This is the meat and potatoes of the game, and I think it's a perfect base for an incredibly addictive game. Depending on how masterfully you make it through a level, you get a high score and a rank after clearing a chapter, which usually contains multiple stages/areas. Getting high ranks, scores, and finding secrets can unlock more masks and weapons for you to use. New weapons appear as random spawns in areas for you to pick up. They can range from katanas to beer bottles, and each adds a new spice to the way you commit mass homicide. The masks add a bonus for the way you play, things like door slamming, killing enemies instead of just knocking them down, being able to walk faster, or the ability to take one bullet before dying. These things accumulate to make the game very replayable, which is good because the main story isn't all that long. Because of the nature of the game being a throw yourself at a brick wall kind of experience, it can range in playtime depending on the player. I was able to finish it in under 4 hours, but I know others could very well take longer or shorter than it took me. I played this game on my PS Vita OLED model, which was very nice for a game like this that's very stylistic with distinct colors. And you can get this on almost anything: PS3, 4, Xbox One, Steam, and the Nintendo Switch. I recommend giving this game a solid look. It's priced very generously, and in many cases you can buy it bundled with the second game in the series. My verdict for this game is an easy 8 out of 10, and since it's so accessible, I can easily say anyone interested in this brief look should definitely play it. For those of you who have played it, feel free to comment what you think about the game and its quality in the comments section down below. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. The review's over, so if you want to leave now, that's totally okay. Though, if you want to hear more about the channel and what I'm thinking, please stay. So, I decided to just try this out as a review. Again, it's supposed to be a brief look at a game. It's not really where I go fully in depth into all the mechanics or my emotional attachment to the game. It's just looking at a game and either I liked it or didn't like it, and then just briefly explain it. Videos like this are a lot easier to make than the one that I did previously, which was the 3DS video. So if you guys like this, please say so in the comments. If you don't like this, or if you have some criticisms of it, please go down in the comments below and tell me about it. Right now, with where this channel is at, I'm just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. So if you guys want to see good content from me, well then I'm going to need to know what you guys like and what is good content. Regardless of any of that, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon.